At my sister's memorial service, her longtime physician pulled me aside and whispered, "Jennifer left something for you in my office. She made me promise to give it to you personally, and she was very clear, don't tell Kevin. She said if anything happened to her suddenly, you'd know what to do." When I opened that envelope 2 hours later and saw what was inside, I realized my sister hadn't died from complications of her diabetes like we'd all been told. She'd been murdered. I'm David Morrison, 62 years old, and for my entire life, Jennifer was more than just my older sister. After our parents died in a car accident when I was 17 and she was 20, Jennifer raised me. She worked 2 jobs to put me through college, celebrated when I graduated from the police academy, and was there at every major moment of my life. When I married Susan, Jennifer was my best man. She'd always been unconventional like that. When Susan and I had our daughter Emma, Jennifer was in the delivery room. And when Susan passed from breast cancer 8 years ago, Jennifer was the one who held me while I fell apart. 3 years ago, Jennifer married Kevin Fletcher. She'd met him at a gallery opening. She was an artist, always had been, painting these incredible landscapes that captured something raw and honest about the Oregon coast. Kevin was charming, attentive, and seemed to genuinely appreciate Jennifer's work. He was 55 then, working as a financial advisor, divorced with no kids. Jennifer had been single for almost 15 years after her first husband left her, when Rachel was just a toddler. She'd raised Rachel alone, poured everything into that girl, and never seemed interested in dating again. Until Kevin. I'll be honest, I never liked him. Maybe it was my 30 years as a detective, or maybe it was just gut instinct. But something about Kevin always felt off. The way his smile never quite reached his eyes. How he'd steer Jennifer away from conversations at family gatherings. Small things that I told myself I was imagining because I was overprotective. Jennifer seemed happy, and after everything she'd sacrificed for me and for Rachel, she deserved happiness. The memorial service was held at the same gallery where Jennifer and Kevin had met. November rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Willamette River. About 70 people came, friends, fellow artists, some of Rachel's colleagues from the architecture firm where she worked. Kevin stood at the front, his face appropriately somber, his hand on Rachel's shoulder as she dabbed at her eyes with a tissue. Jennifer had died 2 weeks earlier. According to Kevin, he'd found her collapsed in her studio. The paramedics said her blood sugar had crashed a severe hypoglycemic episode. It wasn't unheard of. Jennifer had been a type 1 diabetic since her 20s, managing it carefully with insulin and monitoring. But in recent months, Kevin explained to me and Rachel, she'd been having more episodes. He'd found her disoriented twice, had to give her glucose tablets. Her endocrinologist, Dr. Sarah Chen, had been adjusting her medication. It was Dr. Chen who approached me after the service. She was in her 50s, with gray-streaked black hair pulled back in a tight bun, and I'd met her once or twice at Jennifer's appointments. "Mr. Morrison, could I speak with you privately?" Her voice was low, urgent. We stepped into a small office the gallery had let us use. Dr. Chen closed the door and pulled a manila envelope from her bag. "Your sister gave me this 6 weeks ago. She made me promise that if anything happened to her, anything sudden or unexpected, I was to give this directly to you, no one else. She emphasized that Kevin shouldn't know about it." My hands felt cold as I took the envelope. "What is this?" "I don't know." I didn't open it. "But David," she hesitated. "Jennifer came to see me 3 months ago with concerns. She thought someone was tampering with her insulin. Her blood sugar readings weren't making sense. She'd inject what should have been a normal dose and either spike dangerously high or crash dangerously low. I ran every test. We changed her insulin pens, checked her pump, adjusted her medications. But she was convinced someone was switching her insulin. Who did she suspect? Dr. Chen's expression told me everything. She wouldn't say. She just asked me to document everything carefully and to give you this if anything happened. After Dr. Chen left, I sat alone in that office for 20 minutes before I could bring myself to open the envelope. Inside were 3 items: a thumb drive, a handwritten letter, and Jennifer's glucose monitoring log from the past 3 months. The letter was in Jennifer's flowing script. "David, if you're reading this, I was right to be scared. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm just being paranoid and you'll laugh at me about this someday, but I need insurance. 6 months ago, I started noticing things. Kevin asking unusual questions about my life insurance policy. I have $500,000, with Rachel as beneficiary and Kevin as backup. He suggested I make him primary to simplify things, but I refused. He didn't like that. 4 months ago, my blood sugar started doing things it hasn't done in 40 years. I'm careful, David. You know that. I check my levels religiously. I count every carb. I've never been careless. But suddenly I'm having episodes I can't explain. 3 months ago, I found one of my insulin pens in Kevin's jacket pocket. When I asked him about it, he said I must have left it there. But I didn't. I never put my pens anywhere except my medical bag. I installed a camera in our bedroom, hidden in the bookshelf. The footage is on the thumb drive. Watch it all. The timestamps on my glucose log will make sense when you see what he was doing. I've changed my will. Everything goes to Rachel, with you as executor. Kevin gets nothing. I haven't told him yet. The new will is with my attorney, Martin Breslin, on Burnside Street. I love you, little brother. Take care of Rachel. And if I'm wrong about all this, please just destroy this and forget it. But if I'm right, make him pay. Always, Jenny. My hands were shaking. I looked at the glucose log page after page of readings that spiked and crashed with no clear pattern. Then I plugged the thumb drive into my laptop. There were 43 video files, each about 30 minutes long, spanning 3 months. I started with the oldest one. The first few showed nothing unusual, just Jennifer in Kevin's bedroom, filmed from a high angle. Jennifer sleeping, Kevin on his phone. Normal domestic life. But then, 3 weeks in, I saw it. The timestamp read 2:47 a.m. Jennifer was asleep. Kevin got up, left the room, and returned 5 minutes later, carrying Jennifer's medical bag. He pulled out one of her insulin pens, examined it carefully in the dim light from his phone, then took something from his pocket, another insulin pen, identical to Jennifer's. He switched them, took her regular pen, left the replacement, put the bag back on her nightstand, and went back to bed. I watched it happen 6 more times over the next 2 months. Always in the middle of the night. Always the same careful switch. My sister hadn't been paranoid. She'd been absolutely right. I sat there in that gallery office, rain streaming down the windows, and tried to breathe through the rage building in my chest. Jennifer had known. She'd documented it. She'd prepared. And she'd died anyway. The question was, had Kevin escalated? Had he given her something that caused that final, fatal crash? Or had the cumulative effect of months of wrong insulin doses finally killed her? I needed to think like a detective, not a grieving brother. I copied the files to my own drive, put everything back in the envelope, and went to find Rachel. She was in the main gallery space, accepting condolences from some of Jennifer's artist friends. Kevin was across the room, talking to Jennifer's insurance agent. I waited until Rachel was alone, then pulled her aside. "Rachel, I need to talk to you. Not here. Can you come to my place tonight?" She looked at me with Jennifer's gray-green eyes, the same eyes I saw in the mirror every morning. "Uncle David, what's wrong? You look. Please, just come. Don't tell Kevin." Something in my tone must have convinced her because she nodded. That evening, Rachel sat on my couch, her face pale as she watched the videos. She'd already read Jennifer's letter, looked at the glucose logs. Now she was seeing what I'd seen her stepfather methodically poisoning her mother. "I'm going to kill him," she said quietly. "No, you're not. We're going to be smart about this." She knew. Mom knew, and why didn't she leave him? Why didn't she go to the police? "Because what she had wasn't enough," I said. "The videos show him switching insulin pens, but we don't know what was in those pens he was giving her. Could have been saline. Could have been a different concentration of insulin. Could have been anything. Without analyzing what was actually in those pens, and without proving that's what caused her death, it's just suspicious behavior. A good defense attorney would tear it apart. So we do nothing? No. We build a case. And Rachel, I looked at her carefully. I need to ask you something. Have you felt sick lately? Dizzy? Confused?" Her face went white. "How did you know?" My blood ran cold. "What symptoms?" "The past 2 weeks. I've been really tired. A couple times I felt lightheaded, like I might pass out. I thought it was grief, stress from losing Mom. But yesterday I found one of Mom's old insulin pens in my bathroom. I thought Kevin must have been cleaning out her medical supplies and it got mixed in with my things by accident. Rachel, do you have that pen? I threw it away. When's trash day? Tomorrow morning. We were in my car 30 seconds later. Rachel's apartment was in the Pearl District, a modern building with too much security for me to feel comfortable about Kevin having a key. But of course, he had a key. He was family. We found the insulin pen in her bathroom trash, wrapped in tissues. I bagged it carefully. Rachel, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Don't eat or drink anything Kevin gives you. Nothing. If he offers you coffee, tea, food, anything, make an excuse. You think he's trying to... She couldn't finish the sentence. I think with Jennifer gone, and you as the sole beneficiary of her estate, you're now the obstacle between Kevin and $500,000. Plus whatever Jennifer's art collection is worth. And her house. But I'm not the beneficiary anymore. Mom told me she changed her will last month. You're the executor and everything goes to me. But if something happens to me, it all goes to you, not Kevin. Does Kevin know that? I don't think so. Mom said she was going to tell him, but she wanted to wait until after the holidays. So Kevin was operating on old information. He thought if Rachel died, he'd inherit as her closest living relative. And he'd already gotten away with murdering Jennifer, at least he thought he had. Why not go 2 for 2? Rachel, you're not staying here tonight. Pack a bag. You're staying with me. Uncle David, I'm not losing you too. Over the next week, I worked the case the way I'd worked hundreds before I retired. I couldn't do it officially. I had no badge, no authority. But I had contacts, friends, who owed me favors. First, I got the insulin pen Rachel had found tested. It took 3 days, and calling in a major favor with the state crime lab, but the results confirmed my worst fears. The pen was filled with fast-acting insulin at triple the normal concentration. If Rachel, who wasn't diabetic, had accidentally injected herself thinking it was something harmless, or if Kevin had found a way to administer it, she would have gone into severe hypoglycemic shock, possibly fatal. Second, I met with Martin Breslin, Jennifer's attorney. He confirmed that Jennifer had indeed changed her will 4 weeks before her death, cutting Kevin out entirely. He also told me something else. Jennifer had asked him about divorce procedures. She'd been planning to leave Kevin. Did Kevin know? I asked. I don't believe so. Jennifer was very clear that she wasn't ready to file yet. She wanted to get through the holidays, she said. Didn't want to ruin Christmas for Rachel. Third, I had a friend in the Portland Police Bureau pull the reports from Jennifer's death. The responding paramedics had noted unusually dilated pupils and a heart rate that seemed inconsistent with simple hypoglycemia. But because Jennifer had a documented history of diabetes, and because Kevin had reported recent episodes, the medical examiner had ruled it accidental death due to diabetic complications. No autopsy, no toxicology screen beyond a basic glucose check. That's where I hit a wall. Jennifer was buried, not cremated. Kevin had insisted on a traditional funeral, which now seemed like a calculated move. Cremation would have destroyed any evidence, but exhuming a body required a court order, and I didn't have enough evidence to convince a judge. Just suspicious videos, a changed will, and an insulin pen that could have come from anywhere. I was in my office late one night, staring at freeze frames from the videos, when Rachel called. Uncle David, Kevin's here. My heart stopped. At my place? No, at Mom's house. He texted and asked me to come over to go through her art supplies. He said we should start sorting things, donating what we don't want. I told him I'd come tomorrow, but he's insisting it has to be tonight. He says he's already started packing things and needs help. Every instinct I'd honed over 3 decades screamed danger. Tell him you're sick. Tell him you can't come. I already said I would. If I back out now, he'll know something's wrong. Rachel, Uncle David, I want to do this. Absolutely not. Listen to me. We need evidence, right? We need him to do something we can prove. If I go over there, if I'm careful, maybe he'll try something. And maybe we can catch him. I'm not using you as bait. I'm not asking permission. I'm 28 years old, and I'm telling you what I'm going to do. Either help me do it safely, or I'll do it alone. She had Jennifer's stubbornness. I closed my eyes and tried to think. Give me 2 hours. Don't go anywhere until I call you back. I made 3 phone calls. The first was to Detective Lisa Park, someone I'd mentored when she was a rookie 15 years ago. I told her everything, the videos, the insulin pen, my suspicions. She listened without interrupting. David, you know I can't get a warrant based on this. We need more. I know. But if something happens tonight, I need you ready to move. What are you planning? I'm planning to keep my niece alive. The second call was to a private investigator I'd worked with, asking for high-grade audio recording equipment. The third was to Rachel's phone company, getting her location tracking activated and linked to my phone. When I picked Rachel up an hour later, I fitted her with a wire so thin it looked like a necklace. The pendant was the microphone. Your phone stays in your pocket with an open line to me, I said. I'll be parked outside the house. Any sign of trouble, any sign at all, you say the word painting, and I'm coming in. What if he searches me? Then you tell him I'm worried about you and asked you to keep your phone on you for safety. Make me the overprotective uncle. He'll believe that. Jennifer's house was in the West Hills, a beautiful craftsman-style home with a view of the city. I parked 2 houses down with a clear line of sight to the front door. Rachel went in at 8:47 p.m. Through her wire, I heard Kevin greet her warmly. Rachel, honey, thank you for coming. I know this is hard. It's okay, Kevin. We need to do it eventually. I've been going through your mother's studio. There's so much beautiful work. I thought we could catalog everything, maybe put together a retrospective show. She would have wanted that. They moved through the house. I heard the sounds of boxes being moved, papers rustling. Normal, innocent noises. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe. Rachel, can I get you something to drink? I made coffee. My entire body tensed. Oh, no thank you. I'm trying to cut back on caffeine. How about tea? Your mother always loved this chamomile blend. I'm okay, really. You sure? You look tired. Have you been sleeping okay? Just grief, I think. Of course. Actually, your mother asked me to give you something. It's in the kitchen. Come with me. They moved into another room. I heard a cabinet open. Your mother took these supplements. Natural anxiety relief. She thought they might help you with the stress. She asked me to make sure you got them. I don't remember Mom taking supplements. She started a few months ago. Dr. Chen recommended them. Here, take a few with you. Kevin, I really don't need, please, for your mother. She worried about you so much, wanted to make sure you took care of yourself. It would mean a lot to me if you'd honor that. The pressure in his voice was subtle but unmistakable. I knew that technique. I'd used it in interrogations. Make the request seem reasonable, emotional, hard to refuse without seeming suspicious or unkind. Okay, Rachel said finally. Thank you. Actually, why don't you take one now? With some water. I'd feel better knowing you're taking care of yourself. This was it. This was him making his move. Kevin, honestly, I'm fine. Rachel, his voice changed, losing its warmth. I'm asking you to take a simple supplement that your mother wanted you to have. Why are you being difficult? I'm not being difficult. I just don't want to take pills right now. You know what? Fine. I try to honor your mother's wishes and you throw it back in my face, just like you've been avoiding me ever since the funeral. What's going on, Rachel? Nothing's going on. Has David been saying things about me? I've seen the way he looks at me. He never liked me, never gave me a chance. Uncle David hasn't said anything. Then why won't you take the damn pills? The mask was slipping. I had my hand on the door handle. Because they're not supplements, Rachel said quietly. They're whatever you've been using to poison me, just like you poisoned my mother. Silence. 5 seconds that felt like an hour. When Kevin spoke again, his voice was completely different. Calm. Cold. When did you figure it out? Does it matter? I suppose not. Did David tell you? My mother told me. She left us everything we needed to know. Another pause. The camera. I should have found that camera. Where was it? You're not getting that information. Rachel, You've made a terrible mistake coming here tonight and telling me this. Have I? Or have you made a mistake inviting me? I was out of the car, moving toward the house, when I heard it. Not Rachel's voice. A different one. Male. Calm. Professional. Kevin Fletcher. You're under arrest for the murder of Jennifer Morrison and the attempted murder of Rachel Morrison. You have the right to remain silent. I burst through the front door to find Detective Lisa Park and 3 uniformed officers surrounding Kevin in the kitchen. Rachel stood near the window, very much alive, very much in control. Kevin's face went through a remarkable transformation: shock, confusion, rage, and finally, resignation. Lisa turned to me. Detective Morrison. Good timing. What how? Rachel pulled a small recording device from her pocket, different from the wire I'd given her. I called Detective Park 3 days ago. Uncle David. Before you even brought me to your house. Mom's letter wasn't just addressed to you. There was a second envelope. For me. She handed me a piece of paper. Jennifer's handwriting again. Rachel, by now David has shown you everything. He'll want to protect you, keep you safe, investigate carefully. He's a good man and a good detective, but he's also your uncle and he won't want to risk you. You're going to have to be braver than he'll want you to be. Kevin is dangerous, but he's also arrogant. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else. Use that. I've documented everything I could, but it might not be enough. You might need to get him to confess. I trust you to know how to do that safely. Work with the police. Make David understand. You're so much stronger than you know, sweetheart. You're going to be okay. I love you, Mom. The supplements? I asked Lisa. Empty capsules. We switched them out this afternoon when Kevin was at work. Rachel knew he'd try something tonight. He'd been texting her all week, trying to get her alone. And you've been... I looked at Rachel. Faking. The dizziness, the tiredness. I made him think the insulin pen he planted was working. I needed him confident enough to make a mistake. She'd played the victim while setting the trap. Just like her mother had suspected she'd need to. Over the next 2 weeks, the full picture emerged. Kevin had been planning Jennifer's murder for over a year. He'd met her specifically because he'd learned about her diabetes from a mutual acquaintance and saw an opportunity. He'd married her, made sure she listed him as a beneficiary, then begun his campaign of switching her insulin pens with ones he'd carefully prepared, sometimes too strong, sometimes too weak, sometimes filled with saline to make her think her diabetes was becoming unstable. The final dose had been massive enough concentrated insulin to send her into irreversible shock. He'd injected it himself while she slept, then called 911 inches the morning, playing the distraught husband finding his wife collapsed. The exhumation took 3 weeks to approve, but Jennifer's body finally told the truth. Toxicology found levels of insulin inconsistent with any dose she would have self-administered. The medical examiner also found injection sites on her upper arm, places Jennifer, right-handed, couldn't easily have reached herself. Kevin's financial records revealed desperate gambling debts totaling over $400,000. Jennifer's life insurance and estate would have cleared those debts and given him a fresh start. When that plan failed, because Jennifer changed her will, he'd pivoted to Rachel, assuming he'd inherit through her. The trial lasted 2 months. The videos were damning. The insulin pen from Rachel's apartment matched samples found hidden in Kevin's office. His computer search history showed queries about insulin overdose symptoms, undetectable poisons, and avoiding murder investigations. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts: first-degree murder, attempted murder, and fraud. When the verdict came in, I was sitting next to Rachel. She didn't cry. She just reached over and took my hand the same way Jennifer used to when we were kids and something scared her. That was 8 months ago. Rachel sold Jennifer's house. She couldn't bear to live there, and I understood. She moved into a loft in the Pearl District, started a new architecture project she'd been putting off. She sees a therapist twice a week, working through the trauma of losing her mother and nearly being killed by her stepfather. We have dinner together every Sunday, same as we did when Jennifer was alive. Sometimes we talk about her, sometimes we don't. We're learning how to be a family again, smaller now, but still a family. Last month, Rachel organized a retrospective of Jennifer's work at the gallery where the memorial service was held. Over 100 paintings, spanning 40 years. The opening night was packed. Collectors, critics, friends, people who'd known Jennifer, and people who'd only just discovered her work. In the center of the gallery hung Jennifer's final painting, completed 2 weeks before she died. It was a self-portrait, something she rarely did. She'd painted herself standing at the edge of the Oregon coast, looking out at the ocean. The sky was stormy, dark clouds gathering, but there was a break in the clouds where sunlight streamed through, illuminating the waves. Rachel stood in front of it for a long time that night. Finally, she said, she knew she might not make it, but she made sure we would. I thought about the envelope Dr. Chen had given me, about Jennifer's careful documentation, her hidden camera, her letter to Rachel, about a woman who saw danger coming and prepared the people she loved to face it without her. Yeah, I said. She did. There are things I learned in 30 years as a detective that I wish I didn't know. I learned that people you love can be taken from you suddenly. I learned that evil doesn't always look like evil. Sometimes it looks charming and attentive and normal. I learned that justice doesn't always come quickly, and sometimes it doesn't come at all. But I also learned that love transcends death, that a sister's protection can reach beyond the grave, that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Jennifer saved Rachel's life even after her own had been stolen, and in doing so, she taught both of us the most important lesson of all. Trust your instincts, document what you see, protect the people you love, and never, ever underestimate what a mother will do to keep her daughter safe. Even from beyond the grave,